Welcome to this episode of Ask the Guitar Coach, the only podcast where you get answers to all your guitar-related questions. If you're interested in developing your guitar skills and reaching your music goals, please send me an email at the email address ioannis@ioannis.org. That is IOANNIS at IOANNIS.org, so that I can let you know about all the different packages of elite guitar coaching and how you can get private coaching by me. Without further ado, let's go to our question for the day. Does getting older make guitar playing harder? Does it affect hand strength or something else? So here's a good question, but before we get started, we need to define the word older. So what do you mean older? If you're 15, someone who's 30 years old feels a lot and looks a lot older to you. So if you're talking about something like that, absolutely not. There's no problem with getting like in your 30s or 40s. Now, I will share with you some of my experiences I've seen from students who are older than 55 or 60, 65, and see if I can help you out with this question. So from what I've seen, from what I've noticed with my students, until you're at least 55, there's no discernible decay in your playing. Actually, several of our really good famous players right now they're either 60 years old or they're reaching 60. People like Joshua Triani, Steve Vai, Yngwie Malmsteen, they're at the point where they're actually like 58 to 62, somewhere there, if I'm not mistaken. And they're still playing really, really well. They're still doing this professionally, and they don't seem to have lost any of their skill. They might choose to play a little bit less fast or more tastefully, but they seem to be able to play as fast as they want and very virtuosic whenever they need to do so. So as I mentioned, what I've seen is that people that reach 55 or 60, they have not lost any of their skills. However, what does happen is that they're doing other things with their life much more than they used to do when they were in their 20s, which means they spent less time playing guitar, and after several years of playing less and less and less, it's very natural that their skill level kind of diminishes. But this is not a factor of age per se, is of challenges that they have, like as they're building a family, as they have to work more hours in their regular job and things like that. And these aspects minimize their hours of playing guitar, which means that the problem is not with the time that passes by, is that there is less practice time for those people. So as what I've seen is people that have kept it up and they continued their playing, they kept playing either at the same level or slightly less hours than they used to, they have no problem keeping up their strength and their finger agility and everything. If you're enjoying this show and you want to be notified whenever a new video comes out, make sure you press subscribe right here, okay? And also press the notification bell so that you can get a notification every time we release a new video. And now, let's go back to our regular episode. Here's another interesting thing. One situation that I've noticed happening over and over is people that used to play really well, then they stopped for an extended period of time, and when they started like 5 or 10 or 15 years later again, it took them a long time to catch up. Like it took them a couple of years or 4 years to catch up to their previous playing. And this probably has to do something with age, meaning that as you get older, the muscle memory, it takes much longer to fire off again, meaning to reach your previous level. So the best idea for someone would be to never stop playing totally and just keep at least a minimum level of playing always, so that they never have to go through this process again of having stopped for several years and then starting over. Of course, if you don't like guitar anymore and you don't want to play, and you hate it or you are totally bored by it, obviously you're going to stop. You're not going to do it, keep playing because I told you so. But if you feel that this is not a good time for heavy practice, but you do want to do this again in the future, I would suggest you keep at least a minimum involvement with the instrument, maybe a few hours per week. So what happens later on, after 60 or 65 or 70? Honestly, this is not an area where I have any experience. I'm younger than that, and my students, I think my oldest student right now is in his early 60s, but he started as an almost beginner, so it's not a good situation to draw conclusions from that. And usually I also don't like to draw conclusions unless I have large amounts of data to draw a conclusion from. So I'm not going to be able to answer this question with any authority for people who are over 65, let's say. But until that age, I'm pretty sure that there is no problem with if you keep up your playing, unless you actually get hurt your hands some way during those years. You do have to be more careful as you're getting older. Like when you're young, it's like you're bulletproof. It's very difficult to get hurt. You can bounce back very quickly. As you get older, it's easier to get hurt and it takes longer to bounce back. So you have to be more smart about it. But it's not as if the hands don't work anymore or they're weaker or anything like that. So there you have it. I hope this was helpful and I will see you on the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. Until then, keep sending me your questions and I'll do my best to answer them in a future episode. Bye bye.